Welcome into the In the Money podcast. Tom Leach along with Keeneland's Director of Simulcasting, Jim Goodman, as we take a look at stakes races around the country, starting with a pair of graded stakes on the card at Churchill Downs for Saturday. And Jim, we begin with the Grade 3 Commonwealth Turf for 3-year-olds at a mile and a 16th. And really, I thought a pretty well-matched group, heart to heart. I think it's the 8-5 favorite. But did you go with the favorite or try to beat him?
I did. I looked at heart to heart, and the thing that jumps out at you is that double fig difference. When you look at buyer figures should only be used as a guideline. Obviously, a lot of people handicap by them, but when you see the only horse in the race that's run better than 90 buyer figures in the last two races for heart to heart are 96 and 94, the second one in Jefferson Cup at Churchill at a mile on turf. So I like this horse a lot. It could be the controlling speed as well. So there's a lot of reasons to like heart to heart. There is a chance if Giroux is kind of intriguing on Other Cheek, the 7 horse, and if he goes with heart to heart, or if somebody else goes in, Captain Dixie could go with heart to heart. So if one of those other horses go with heart to heart, it might set up for a close, or maybe bash heart from the outside post. But I like heart to heart a lot. I would key him on top in the trifectas with the 7, 10, 13, and possibly the 7, 10, 13, and with all, because I think it is well-matched field once you get past heart to heart. And I would also single heart to heart in the late pick 4.
I went for Other Cheek, and I went back and looked at his race at Laurel, and he had to run every step of the way. There was a big long shot that pressed him early, so he could run right with that horse just outside, maybe just a head or a neck off that horse, and then really kick home. And that's what I think he'll probably have to do to win this against heart to heart, against a much better horse. But this horse had to run hard the whole way and spurted away in the stretch. It looked like they were getting to him, and then on the gallop out, he sprinted away from him again. So really, when I watched that, I really liked it. It's a non-winners of one other than versus a horse coming off stakes company. So it's a reach, but at least you get 12-1 on the morning line to reach. So I'm going to try to beat heart to heart, who I think is definitely the one to beat, with Other Cheek. And then Captain Dixie I liked a little bit, and number 9, Highball, a little bit. But Other Cheek's going to be the pick for me, and I'll use a bigger exacta box with him in the favorite, and then smaller exacta boxes with Other Cheek and the 9 and the 10. Ninth race is the Grade 2 Mrs. Revere, 3-year-old fillies here going a mile and a 16th on the turf, the complement to the 7th race. And this is a much more accomplished group overall. How did you see this one?
Yeah, Testa Rossi is the class of the field, but she's been off since the Ashland at Keeneland. So I'm gonna say she's gonna need a race, and then it becomes a real handicapping chore. I like 2 horses better than the others, and one of them is Sparkling Review, who comes out of the Valley View, the Grade 3 here at Keeneland. She won by 2.5 and 2 3/4, and seemed to have a little bit left. She went 6 wide down the stretch, and Ben Colebrook is an underrated trainer. I think she's really coming into this race well. But the other horse that intrigues me, I always look at Joan Scott's horses, Shipping to Churchill. She won up there last week. She's another underrated trainer, and she spots her horse as well. And she ran this filly in the QE2 and went off at 6-1, coming off a Grade 3 win at Woodbine, and didn't disgrace herself in QE2. She got beat by Crown Queen by 6 3/4. So I'm going to take the 2 horses coming off really good efforts at Keeneland. I'm going to key them on top. Sparkling Review, the 4, and Speed Seeker, the 6. Speed Seeker may have the most upside of any of them because she's really improving. The QE2, if you look at her speed figures, she dropped from a 95 to 77, but it was on soft turf against really good top-level competition. So I'm going to give both those horses a real shot in here. I would use Distorted Beauty, the 3, Lady Laura, the 11, who both exit the Pebble Stakes at Belmont. Personal Diary, the 5, also comes out of QE2. So if I were using a pick 4 ticket here, I would go 5 or 6 deep with Sparkling Review and Speed Seeker method. Top 2 choices.
I think this is a good race to kind of shop the tote board for an overlay to see if you can get a inflated price on a really nice filly, because I think there's a good chance that'll happen. I kind of like Walk Close for Clement, just off. She's had some trouble trips, and Ortiz is 3 for 3 on her, and now he comes back to ride her after not being on her for a couple of starts. But I do not like the 13 post, so I ended up coming to Testa Rossi off that long layoff, but just because of Chad Brown, he's so good off the layoff that I ended up picking Testa Rossi. But Personal Diary, I think I'd have to use in exactas and multi-race wagers. 13 I mentioned. The 11 and the 12 both coming out of the same race as the 13 up in New York, Lady Lara and Sandiva for Mott and Pletcher respectively. So this is a really tough spot. The two you mentioned are very worthy in there too. So I think this is a good race to. In fact, what I might do is I like Walk Close, just not sure if she can win from the 13 hole. The way I may end up betting it is just to kind of take her in an exacta box with a couple of prices and Tessa Rossi maybe, and I think there's a good chance you're going to get a big price either first or second or maybe even both in this race. Really good betting challenge if you can figure it out. Aqueduct's seventh race is the Grade 3 Red Smith at 1 3/8 on the turf, and I started to go to Legendary here, but ended up taking a shot with Unitarian. A little bit of a price here that I think maybe you may get an overlay if this horse is anywhere close to as good as he looked in the Elkhorn at Keeneland back in the spring. Pletcher's 27% second time off the layoff, and this horse ran at Keeneland last time at the end of the meet and ran okay, but was coming off a long layoff, so may have needed that race. I'm going to take a stand against Big Blue Kitten. I think Legendary may be the one to beat. Certainly Big Blue Kitten merits a look. Dynamic Sky, I think, coming out of the same race. And then the 11 for Graham Motion. If you can get anywhere close to the morning line price, Manigar, don't overlook that one. But number 10, Unitarian, is going to be my pick in there. What about you in the Red Smith?
Well, I went chalky here. I think Legendary and Big Blue Kitten are the class of the race, and I think there's a real good shot that they'll run 1-2. The other horse, Big Blue Kitten, is just very consistent. I mean, the last 6 buyers, the worst one's been a 98 in the Breeders' Cup Turf last year. So four races this year, 4 buyers at between 100 and 103. So you got to figure that he's going to be there. He gets beat by Hillstar in the Grade 1 Canadian International. He runs ahead of Dynamic Sky. Dynamic Sky could take a step forward, though, because he closed pretty well up there to get third, and he should have finished closer to Big Blue Kitten. The other horse that I like down here, and this is just the way the race may turn out, Red Rifle has a lot of speed, and he's drawn perfectly on the inside. Joe Bravo is going to go out there with him and go as far as he can go, and it may be in 1 3/8 that nobody really runs with him. Micromanage shows some speed, but the better horses in here like to close. So there is a chance that Bravo will be into the punch, and Red Rifle may take him a long way. So I would put a little bit of money that way. I would keep Big Blue Kitten, though, and Legendary on top.
Let's go to Del Mar for the 8th race, the Grade 3 Bob Hope Stakes for 2-year-olds at 7 furlongs. I ended up going to Prime Engine in here, first time in the Hollendorfer barn, and that's a 30% strike rate. This horse was sold at Keeneland and debuted on September the 13th with an 83 buyer going 6 furlongs. Buyer dropped when he stretched out to 2 turns, but now he cuts back to 7 furlongs. And going on the synthetic for the first time, but it's out of an Unbridled Song mare, and that should equal a likeness or a liking for the synthetic track. So I'm going to take Prime Engine number 4, use him with Diamond Majesty, the 3, the 1 Sebastian's Heart, and the 7 All Indians. How about you?
Well, I went to my old angle of looking at a race like this, horses that have 2 wins versus 1 win, and Prime Engine fits. He's 2 for 2, but Every May was my choice here, simply because picking between the two, Every May's got a synthetic win. Won at Golden Gate last time out in optional claiming, went wire to wire. Some of the other horses have question marks. I really liked All Right's first race, 87 buyer, and ran a 109 6 furlongs at Santa Anita, but that track was so speed favoring the week before Breeders' Cup that might be a little bit of a, the track was absolutely quick. So All Right, maybe get all over bet over that 87 buyer. So I'm going to take Every May on top. I would use Prime Engine and any pick 3s or pick 4s. I would also use the 7 horse, All Indians, for Kent DeSormo and Bob Hess. The 77 buyer at Del Mar sticks out there. He broke his maiden back in September, came back and ran in a stakes race at Santa Anita and had speed and fade and may go run back to that Del Mar for him. And if he does, he's got a shot. So I like to take horses here that have wins on the poly track. That's a big deal at Del Mar. For the last time here, it's only going to run like another couple of weeks. They're going to take that stuff out.
And there's one other race that I did look at. That's the DeFrancis Memorial up at Laurel, only because Miko Margarita's in there. And I like that horse a little bit in the Breeders' Cup Sprint and didn't run well at all, but had trained sensationally. And so Asmussen, 2 weeks after the Breeders' Cup, shifts this horse back out to Laurel for this race. So I'm going to look at that race, and if there's any kind of a price on Miko Margarita, I might play around with that one a little bit. I think Happy My Way is real dangerous down the rail, but if there's a good price on Miko Margarita, that one could get a little money. Everybody, best of luck this weekend with your wagers. Some good spots to look at this weekend through KeenelandSelect.com or through the simulcasting at Keeneland, and we'll see you next week.